Let's look at some of the controversial passages in the Bible from Genesis to Revelation that have historically sparked debate due to their interpretation, particularly within various cultural, theological, and historical contexts. These debates often arise from differing perspectives on morality, cultural norms, historical practices, and theological doctrine. Genesis chapter 1 and 2, creation versus evolution. Genesis chapter 1 to 5. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Genesis 2:7. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. 1. Controversy. The creation account in Genesis 2 has been at the center of debate for centuries, primarily concerning literal versus figurative interpretation. Is the Genesis account literal history or symbolic poetry? Creation timeline. Does the 6 days refer to literal 24-hour days or longer metaphorical periods? Science versus faith. Evolutionary theory, particularly Darwin's ideas, appears to challenge a literal interpretation of Genesis, causing tensions between religious communities and scientific ones. 2. Historical and cultural context. Ancient context. Genesis was written in a world where creation myths were common, such as the Babylonian Enuma Elish, which described the world as born from conflict among gods. Genesis sets itself apart by portraying one sovereign creator. Modern context. The rise of evolutionary biology, geological studies, and cosmology, e.g. the Big Bang Theory, introduced natural explanations for the origins of the universe, challenging traditional interpretations. 3. Interpretations. Young Earth creationism belief that Genesis 1 describes a literal 6-day creation approximately 6,000 years ago, rejects evolution, and supports a global flood as an explanation for geological features. Old Earth creationism argues that the days in Genesis could represent long ages, harmonizing the biblical account with scientific findings. Theistic evolution. God is seen as the ultimate creator who used evolutionary processes to bring about life. Symbolic/poetic interpretation. Genesis is viewed as theological truth conveyed through symbolic language, focusing on God's sovereignty rather than scientific details. 4. Explanation. Genesis rhymes means structure. The repeated phrases, "and God said, it was good, evening and morning," emphasize order and purpose, suggesting intentional creation rather than chaos. Genesis 2 is focus. While Genesis 1 gives a cosmic overview, Genesis 2 zooms in on humanity's relationship with God, describing Adam and Eve's unique creation in God's image. The apparent differences between the chapters, e.g. the order of creation, have also sparked debate. Scholars often explain this as complementary perspectives rather than contradictions. 5. Modern application. Faith and science. The Genesis account invites believers to recognize God as the ultimate creator, even while exploring scientific discoveries. Christians can see science as a way to marvel at God's handiwork rather than a threat to faith. Environmental stewardship. Humans are called to subdue and have dominion. Genesis chapter 1:28, which implies responsibility rather than exploitation of the earth. Human value. Genesis 7 highlights the sanctity of life, reminding us that humanity is uniquely breathed into by God, carrying eternal value.